Your dog has been trying to communicate something to you every single day of their life. And the instant you truly grasp what that something is, you will never be able to look at your dog the same way again. The truth is, most owners genuinely believe they're doing everything right. They're not, and the quiet, invisible gap between what your dog actually needs and what they're receiving is slowly eroding the bond your dog is working so hard to build with you. Stay through to the very end, because the final point is the one that genuinely changes everything. Welcome to Canine Mind. If you love your dog and you want to truly understand what's going on inside their mind, subscribe right now. Let's get into it. 1. Waking up and greeting your dog before you do anything else. Here is something that almost nobody in the dog world talks about openly, and it sounds so disarmingly simple that most people will scroll right past it without giving it a second thought. But if you only take one single thing away from this entire video and put it into practice, make it this. The first 5 minutes of your morning are actively shaping your dog's entire emotional landscape for the rest of the day. Not their food bowl, not their morning walk, not their favorite toy. Those first 5 minutes, dogs are pack animals. And that is not a metaphor, not a poetic way of describing a quirky behavior pattern. It is a biological truth that has been encoded into their DNA across 15,000 years of co-evolution alongside human beings. Their brains are hardwired to orient themselves around a social anchor. In the wild, that anchor was the pack leader. In your home, that anchor is you. And the moment you wake up and reach for your phone before you reach for your dog, you are sending a signal that lands somewhere deep inside their nervous system. That signal says, plainly and unmistakably, "You are not my priority." A study published in the journal Applied Animal Behavior Science found that dogs who receive consistent morning social interaction from their owners exhibit measurably lower baseline cortisol levels throughout the day, lower stress, calmer behavior, a more settled, regulated nervous system, all from something that takes no more than 30 seconds of your time. You don't need to make it an elaborate production. You don't need to get down on the floor and wrestle with them at 7 in the morning. Just wake up, find their eyes, and say their name with genuine warmth. Let them greet you in whatever way feels natural to them. Let that moment be completely theirs, because here is what is actually happening beneath the surface when you do that. And this is the part most owners never get to hear. While you were asleep, your dog was waiting. Their entire world was on pause. You are the main event of their existence. And when you acknowledge them first, before the coffee, before the phone, before the news, before any of it, their brain registers something that no treat and no toy on the market can replicate. It registers, "I matter here." And a dog who genuinely believes they matter is an entirely different animal than a dog who isn't sure. Keep watching, because the distinction between those two dogs will become crystal clear by the time we arrive at point 6. 2. Letting your dog sniff for as long as they need to. How many times have you tugged the leash mid-walk because your dog stopped to investigate a smell for the 10th time in under 2 minutes? How many times have you muttered, "Let's go," and kept moving because your schedule wouldn't wait? Almost every dog owner has done this, and almost every one of them has absolutely no idea what they just took away from their dog. To understand why this matters so deeply, you need to understand something fundamental about how your dog actually experiences the world around them. Humans are visual creatures. We process our environment primarily through what our eyes take in. Dogs are built completely differently. A dog's nose contains up to 300 million olfactory receptors. Humans have around 6 million. The portion of a dog's brain dedicated exclusively to processing and analyzing scent is proportionally 40 times larger than the equivalent region in a human brain. What does that mean in real, practical terms? When your dog stops and spends 60 full seconds sniffing a fire hydrant or a patch of grass on the sidewalk, they are not wasting time. They are not being stubborn. They are reading. They are receiving an entire story. Which animals passed through here? How long ago? What those animals had eaten? Whether they were under stress? Whether they were healthy or sick? Every smell is a paragraph. Every surface is a page. Your neighborhood is a novel your dog has been trying to read in full for years. And every time you yank them away, you are slamming that book shut in the middle of a sentence. A landmark study published in Applied Animal Cognition found that dogs who were allowed to engage in extended, unhurried sniffing sessions during their walks showed significantly higher levels of optimism in follow-up behavioral assessments compared to dogs who covered the exact same distance but were kept moving and restricted from sniffing freely. Read that again. Optimism, not just reduced stress, not just greater satisfaction. Optimism. The way your dog is permitted to use their nose directly affects their entire outlook on life. This is the walk your dog is actually asking for. Not the most efficient loop around the block. A slower, more deliberate walk where they lead with their nose and you follow with patience. 20 minutes of genuine, unrestricted sniffing does more for your dog's mental health and overall well-being than a full hour of pure physical exercise. And here is the deeper truth that lives underneath all of that. When you stop pulling and start following, something fundamental shifts in the relationship between the two of you. Your dog begins to understand that being with you means their needs are genuinely respected. That trust becomes the currency that every other point in this video is built upon. 3. Learning the difference between your calm voice and your loud one. Do you talk to your dog throughout the day? Do you narrate what you're doing around the house? Do you greet them warmly when you come home after being away? Do you say their name sometimes just because you feel like it, with no particular reason attached? If you do, you are doing something far more powerful than you've ever been given credit for. If you don't, start today because the science behind this is extraordinary. In 2022, researchers in Budapest used advanced brain imaging technology to measure and analyze how dogs responded to the sound of their owner's voice. What they discovered is one of the most remarkable findings in the entire history of animal cognition research. Dogs don't simply recognize their owner's voice. They process the emotional tone of that voice in the same hemisphere of the brain that humans use to process emotional communication. Your dog's brain has evolved a dedicated, specialized system for reading not just what you say, but specifically how you say it. And here is what the data actually showed. When owners spoke to their dogs in a warm, slightly elevated pitch, the kind of voice most people naturally drift toward when speaking to babies or animals, without even consciously thinking about it, dogs showed immediate, measurable physiological signs of relaxation. Heart rate dropped, muscular tension released, their eyes visibly softened. When those same owners spoke in a flat, distracted, emotionally neutral tone, the dog's nervous system stayed on alert. Not because the words had changed, because the warmth had disappeared. Your voice is one of the most powerful emotional regulation tools your dog will ever have access to. Every time you greet them gently when you walk through the front door, every time you call their name with real affection behind it, every time you speak softly to them while they lie still beside you on the couch, you are reaching directly into their nervous system and delivering a message. Everything is okay. You are safe. I am right here. No supplement, no calming spray, no anxiety wrap, no expensive product of any kind can do what your voice does when it carries genuine warmth. And the profound thing is, your dog has always known the difference. They have known since the very beginning. The only question is whether you will be consistent enough with it for them to truly count on it. Stay with me, because point 4 is where most dog owners unknowingly make the single biggest mistake of their relationship with their dog. 4. Playing with your dog like the game actually has real stakes. When was the last time you genuinely played with your dog? Not tossing a ball across the yard while you stood in place scrolling through your notifications. Not lobbing a rope toy in their general direction with one hand while you held your coffee with the other. Actually played fully present, completely engaged, making the game feel alive and real and unpredictable. Because there is a meaningful difference between keeping your dog occupied and truly fulfilling them at a deeper level. And that difference is precisely why so many dogs kept indoors develop anxiety, destructive tendencies, and what veterinary behaviorists are increasingly identifying and naming as canine depression. Dogs are not domesticated wolves in the sense that their instincts have simply been erased or replaced over time. Their instincts have been redirected. Every breed, from the smallest Chihuahua curled up on a city apartment couch to the largest Great Dane sprawled across a farmhouse floor, carries a prey drive, a chase drive, a retrieve drive, a herding drive. These are not behavioral quirks or personality traits you can train away. They are biological imperatives, and when those drives are never given a meaningful, satisfying outlet, the energy doesn't just disappear, it finds somewhere else to go. Your furniture, your shoes, your nerves. A study published in the Journal of Veterinary Behavior found that dogs receiving insufficient interactive play stimulation showed significantly elevated rates of separation anxiety, aggression, and compulsive behavioral patterns. These are not bad dogs. They are unfulfilled dogs. There is a profound difference. So what does real play actually look like in practice? It means you move. You make the toy unpredictable and dynamic. You let the intensity build gradually, slow movements, a deliberate pause, then a sudden burst that catches them off guard. You let your dog win sometimes. You let them grab the toy, shake it hard, and feel the deep satisfaction of the catch. And you build in a proper cool down at the end, a few quiet moments of calm that allow their nervous system to come down from the arousal peak of the game. That sequence, the build-up, the pursuit, the catch, the release, is not recreation to your dog in any casual sense. It is a ritual that confirms their identity. It is the experience that tells their brain, I am capable, I am fully alive, I am seen for what I am. And here is the part that will fundamentally change how you approach every single play session going forward. When you are the one on the other end of that game, fully present, making it real, invested in the outcome, your dog doesn't just see playtime happening. They see you as the one who understands what they are made of. Deep down, that creates a different level of bond entirely. Something that no amount of passive affection sitting on the couch can manufacture. Keep watching. Point 5 is about something your dog does every single day that you have very likely been misreading for years. 5. Giving your dog a space that is completely and unconditionally theirs. Does your dog have a place they retreat to when the world becomes a little too much? Not a crate you lock them in as a puppy for convenience. A place they genuinely chose on their own terms. A corner they return to consistently. A spot where nobody bothers them, nobody calls them, and nobody places any expectation on them whatsoever. If your honest answer is no, your dog has been living without something essential, and the effects of that absence are almost certainly showing up somewhere in their behavior, even if you haven't connected the dots yet. Here is what the science tells us. Dogs are not pack animals in the sense of requiring constant, unrelenting social stimulation. They are social animals who also require withdrawal, the ability to move away from noise, from stimulation, from activity, from social interaction, and enter a state of genuine, uninterrupted rest is a neurological need, not a personality preference, not a luxury. A study published in the journal Animals found that dogs provided with a dedicated retreat space, one that their owner actively respected, showed significantly lower markers of chronic stress compared to dogs living in homes where no such space existed. And the most important word in that finding is respected. The space only works if every person in the household understands that when the dog chooses to go there, they are not to be disturbed, not called back, not followed, not drawn back into the social world until they decide on their own terms that they are ready to return. This is where the majority of well-meaning owners get it completely wrong. They give the dog a beautiful bed in the corner and then call them away from it 30 seconds later. They set up a cozy crate and then swing it open mid-rest just to say hello. They reach down to pet the dog the exact moment the dog finally lies down to rest. And every single one of those interruptions delivers the same lesson to the dog. There is no place in this home where I am truly safe to let my guard down. The impact of that lesson compounds quietly over time. A dog who cannot genuinely rest, cannot genuinely recover. A dog who cannot recover accumulates stress, layer by invisible layer, and accumulated stress expresses itself in ways that look from the outside like behavior problems, but are actually signals of a need that has never been properly met. Give your dog a space, a specific, designated space. Place something there that carries the scent of comfort. Let them discover it and claim it on their own schedule. And when they go there, treat that space like sacred ground, because to your dog, it genuinely is. And when you understand what happens in point 6, you will see clearly and completely why everything we've covered matters more than you ever imagined. 6. Staying completely still when your dog chooses to rest against you. You know this moment. You settle onto the couch at the end of a long day, and your dog slowly, deliberately crosses the room, circles once, and presses the full weight of their body against yours. Or they climb up quietly and drape themselves across your legs like they've made a final, irrevocable decision. Your arm goes numb. Whatever you were trying to watch becomes impossible to follow. You cannot reach anything useful, and you do not move. Most people treat this moment as a funny inconvenience, a cute anecdote to share with friends. But what is actually happening in that moment is one of the most profound acts of communication that any living animal is capable of expressing. Sleep is the single most vulnerable state any creature can enter. When an animal sleeps, every defense drops. Awareness shuts off entirely. The ability to detect danger, to respond to threats, to protect oneself, it all goes offline. In nature, a dog would not choose to sleep pressed against another living creature unless something buried deep in their biology had concluded, beyond any shadow of doubt, that this creature would not harm them while they were completely helpless. When your dog chooses to fall asleep touching you, they are not simply finding a comfortable surface. They are making a declaration. They are saying, out of every place available to me in this entire world, every corner, every surface, every safe spot in this house, I have chosen you. You are the safest place I know, and the way you respond to that moment either honors that declaration or slowly wears it down. Every time you sacrifice the feeling in your arm and the convenience of reaching the remote, every single time you simply let them sleep, you are answering their declaration with one of your own. I see what you gave me, and I will not take it for granted. Now think back through everything we've covered in this video. The consistent morning greeting that told them they matter before the day even begins. The unhurried walks where their nose led the way and you followed without rushing. The warmth in your voice that reached directly into their nervous system and told them the world was safe. The play sessions that honored their instincts and confirmed their identity. The retreat space that gave them genuine permission to rest and recover without interruption. Every single one of those things was a deposit into an account your dog keeps track of in a way no chart or spreadsheet could ever fully capture. And when they press their body against yours and let their eyes close, that is the moment that account comes full circle. That is your dog showing you the total. That is trust made physical. That is everything you built together, arriving all at once in a single quiet moment. You will never be able to look at that moment the same way again. And you shouldn't, because it was never just a nap. It was everything. If this video shifted the way you see and understand your dog, share it with someone who loves their dog and deserves to know all of this. Subscribe to Canine Mind. We are here every single week, helping you truly understand the animal that chose to spend their one life with you. They deserve to be understood. And honestly, so do you.